The car slid across the tarmac like a blade over ice, tumbling through a metal gate, a fence, a hedgerow seamed with wire. I watched the hedge rushing up to meet us, illuminated in the headlights' glare, and thought that this time I would die. We had crashed twice before, and I had a very clear sense in those twirling, elastic seconds that I was now out of chances. The boys in the back told me later that they thought I had died. They saw my head, in its blue feeler bucket hat, hit the roof 3 times and drop towards my sternum, the stem of my neck flopping ominously. But as the car came to rest in a ditch, and my boyfriend barked at his passengers to get out, get the fuck out, because beneath the bonnet the engine had started to smoke, I sat up and bit down. Between my molars, I could feel something like grit. Glass smashed to a fine grain. I tried to open the door, but the barbed wire had wrapped itself around the car as we rolled, like twine around a spindle. I rattled at the handle, panic unfurling in my chest, and I saw I was alone. By the time I'd scrambled out of the door on the driver's side, my boyfriend was almost back at the bends. The car no longer looked like a car, but a pumpkin. The roof was crushed, the chassis splayed around the middle. There was no glass left in the windows or windshield. On impact, the steel had simply crumpled. I stared at it, too shocked to cry. How was it all 5 of us had walked away unharmed? Divine intervention. There could be no other explanation. Except we weren't unharmed. The substance of the crash clung to me. For a long time afterwards, whenever I closed my eyes, I would see it. The veering headlights and bright spot of hedgerow approaching far too fast. It still lurked beneath the waterline, and sometimes when I was driving, I'd see it unfold in front of me. The car slipping out from under my control. Futile screech of brakes, spiralling gravel, grass, birds, sky, soil. Black. Things ending with a crunch, bone on concrete, slowly pooling blood. Accidents happen when a few casual factors combine. An intersection of unlucky coordinates. Bad weather, curving route, young driver, old car. The music didn't help. Loud and propulsive enough to make him put his foot down. It was an old house tune. Old even then, and this was 20 years ago. But its couplets had the cadence of a nursery rhyme or a child's prayer. When I go to bed at night, I think of you with all my might. I love you, fool. Remember? Relate. In some ways, he was the most instructive of all my boyfriends. He was 2 years older than me, at a time when that made a difference. He taught me things. His gospel relayed a frank and austere world I knew little of, but his lessons stayed with me forever. Some I passed on to other people. He taught me how to lace trainers so the knots couldn't be seen, how to tie a berghouse in the middle so it still looked girly. He taught me, and I still don't know how he knew about this, to put the soles of my feet together when I came, to intensify the pleasure. He taught me about hardcore before it became happy hardcore, how it used to have a breakbeat and a looming sense of doom. He tried to teach me, with limited success, how to fight, how to throw a punch. He told me every boy must resign himself to being beaten at least once in his life. He administered several of these beatings himself, but he also received one when a troop of unknown boys picked him up and carried him shoulder high through the train station as a triumphant football team bears their captain around the pitch. Once inside, they dropped him onto the platform, stamped on his ribs, and kicked him in the head. It was an unprovoked attack, an outpouring of tribal fury, and he accepted it without shame, without looking for reasons or seeking recompense. He knew the reasons.